Welcome everyone to today's MLG Pro League action. Mineski up against Underminer. Now, Underminer still technically have a chance to get that top spot in the MLG Pro League Asian division. They need as many wins as they can though, while Mineski is on the other end of the scale. They are fighting the relegation battle. If they don't get 2 wins here, I believe they're just dropping out of the Pro League altogether and they'll be down in Division 2. So we'll have to see who comes out on top in this series and whether they can get what they really want. And that's, for Mineski to stay in the Pro League and for Underminer to battle their way above MVP, above Invasion, and above Rave as well. Let's head over to the draft and also welcome in Scant. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. It's quite cool that we're so close to the end of the group stage, and I think this is the first series we've had where there's a team involved who cannot make it into the Pro League.
Yeah. Well, it's not
so
just, this is the first series in the past week or so where one of the teams can't get that top spot. Because we've been casting a lot of Rave, Arcanis, CSW, and they've all got potentially chances. Okay, CSW can't. Arcanis can't. They've played all their games, but it looks like they'll be sticking in the Pro League. It just depends on people below them. 5ever, Trust, Rave, Invasion, and MVP can all potentially get that top spot to land themselves in the finals.
Yep, and as you said, Mineski, even though they make it into the Pro League, they still got a lot to play for. I mean, one of these teams is going to get relegated, and at the moment it looks like Mineski and Underminer are 2 of the most likely candidates for relegation. So there's a lot on the line here.
Well, Underminer can still technically draw with MVP. If they win their next 2 series 2-0, they go, 11-7. So if MVP lose their last couple of... it does rely on a lot of teams losing, but Underminer can still technically, because they've not played out all of their games, get to the top spot. They've got enough games left to win, but it's getting really close.
So this team could come first, and they also could get relegated
yes.
At this point.
It's crazy. It's actually nuts. 5ever is in exactly the same spot as Underminer. They're both 7-7 right now, so they've got 2 game series remaining, so 4 single matches. They could both draw up with MVP Phoenix, and the more interesting thing is 5ever play against MVP as I think the last game of the season.
Oh, wow.
So they'll have it in their hands right at the end to see, but you've still got Invasion and Rave who, if they go 2-0, then they will have that top spot taken. Who else is there? Trust as well, who have, again, 4 matches remaining. Or 4 single games remaining anyway. So
was MVP Hot 6 not formed at the start of this league? Because I noticed they're not in it.
I'm not too sure. I don't know if they qualified or I'm not sure how that worked out, but they're not in this Asian division. I'm not too sure on that actually. But anyway, the draft here, Mineski banning out Enigma, Razor, Chen. And picking up the ES Shadow Fiend. Pretty good combination there. Underminer, though, with a Vengeful Spirit, Troll, banning out Storm, Batrider, Witch Doctor, and Queen of Pain. Underminer, I believe it was you that was... or was I casting alone? Underminer picked up an Undying last week at some point. They're not afraid to go with some early aggression strats. I believe it was against MVP, and it didn't really work out. But they've got these interesting drafts that they just pull out of nowhere.
I wish it was me. It wasn't. I would love to see Undying.
Yeah.
But what I'm already seeing, which is quite interesting, I mean, do Underminer run Razor a lot? Because that's a first phase Razor ban by Mineski.
I don't know. I've only caught Underminer once or twice, actually. I can't remember if I've seen Razor from them, but you'd kind of expect that if Mineski are banning it, it's one of those respect bans, because Enigma... He is quite a strong hero, but banning out Enigma and Razor in the first 1-2 is unusual.
Yeah, Razor, we almost never see Razor anymore, actually. It went from being sort of in every game, a few months down the line, in almost no games. So I feel like it's got to be a targeted ban there, and maybe it's related to their Viper pickup now. I mean, Razor being one of those heroes that can lane up against the Viper. Viper, really strong laner here. Does this mean that the SF's going to be in the safe lane, or will this be an aggressive tri-lane Viper, or maybe even a safe lane Viper?
They do have pretty much every option available to them, but with an Earthshaker pickup, I'd say it's not going to be an aggro tri-lane. Earthshaker isn't really a hero that you throw up there. He does need some levels and likes to move around, stack and pull while swapping between lanes. Maybe safe lane Viper? Get that mech a little bit quicker and then just run at towers while Shadow Fiend farms up a little bit more, but I don't know. Are Underminer going to pick up Tiny here? Yep. Yep, of course they are. Wisp and Tiny. That good old combination. Mineski preempting it though with the Disruptor pickup, so they'll be able to send people back with that Glimpse.
Yeah, Glimpse does quite a lot against Relocate. It can isolate one of the heroes from another, but also against Vengeful Spirit swap. I think when you're going for a kill and Venge tries to defensively swap, you can just Glimpse the person back. That's really nice. And Bristleback actually being picked up as the last pick on Mineski, and this is a hero that we've seen terrorizing game after game after game in this tournament. So, wow, I mean, the unbeatable Bristleback versus the unbeatable Tiny, I don't know.
Well, Bristle and Viper are both decent heroes against Tiny Wisp. Bristle's a decent hero against Troll Warlord, because he just turns his back and he doesn't get, 1v1'd. But, I don't know. Underminer, do they run the Tiny Wisp mid and then Mineski put the Bristle mid? It's
Tiny with Wisp and Troll ulti and Venge damage and armor reduction. I mean, this is reminding me so much of the series we cast where was Mineski themselves running the Tiny Wisp in that series?
Yeah.
Where they came very close to winning and Tiny gets picked off with that buyback and they lose. And it feels like we're in a similar situation here for Underminer because their Tiny does so much. Everything else complements him really well, but if he's not there, their whole draft seems to fall apart.
So they need an offlaner that can really bring things together, but you can't really have another farming hero. Troll relies on... Okay, they're going to have a Space Maker in the form of the Space Cow.
It's the Space Cow. I do like seeing that. I mean, I think I like seeing Spirit Breaker more than Undying, purely from an entertainment perspective. Spirit Breaker is usually doing fun things. I mean, it's Ramboing, or it's zoning, or it's charging halfway across the map, or clowning around, baiting people and then charging away. There's so many funny things that a Spirit Breaker can do, so I'm probably going to be keeping an eye on him in the early game just to see what he's getting up to.
Yeah, so often, I'm pretty sure it was Mineski again that, yeah, they had Jesse Vash on the Spirit Breaker, and he would just charge in to the anti-mage that they were against, and pretend that they were going in, then just cancel the charge. So the anti-mage, misses out on valuable farming time, has to waste his blink and try and get away from the charge, and in the end, Spirit Breaker's just, faking it.
Just trolling him.
Yeah, I'm going to go on you. No, not actually. But we've got Visum on the Tiny, J and Y on the Wisp, Boys playing the Vengeful Spirit, CK on that Spirit Breaker, and Cloud once again on that Troll Warlord. Is this going to be Troll mid then? This is something that Southeast Asian teams do more than European teams, because in Europe, especially CIS, the Tiny Wisp, once you pick it up, it's 99% sure it's going mid. Especially on the Dire side, Radiant side maybe a little less so, just because of the way the camps and jungle are laid out.
Hang on. I just wanted to... I might be wrong, but doesn't QQ normally play a core role?
What's he on now? Disruptor? No?
He's on Earthshake.
Yeah, he usually plays the Queen of Pain offlane.
So why is he supporting? Who's on support who's not meant to be?
Well, Raven's a stand-in. Both Jesse Vash and QQ have been swapping up their roles, playing offlane and mid and safe lane. They've got Nicole standing in for Jay. So Mineski have two stand-ins here. Oh.
Three stand-ins, but look. Oh wait, no, yeah, it's just two.
No, it's two. Yeah, they've got Bristleback, Shadowfiend, and Viper. Their three cores are stand-ins.
They have been playing with a lot of stand-ins lately. I feel like many of their matches in this tournament have been with stand-ins, and maybe that's a sign that they're still trying to finalize their actual roster. I mean, is it that likely that their actual players are just missing all the time?
I don't know. It's hard to tell. They've had 3 or 4 players that have constantly played together for a while. Then they brought in Jesse Vash, that was an old school player, Jay as well, and I thought that was going to be their final roster. They looked decent. They weren't doing too badly. Maybe they've just dropped a couple of players again and thought, well, let's start from scratch. But I'm not sure what this does for their chances at getting out of the relegation zone.
Wisp does get his bounty in, so we'll start at the bottle, which is pretty much what the Wisp wants to be doing. Nice start for the Radiant side. Should make that safe lane extremely solid with a Wisp, Tiny, and Vengeful Spirit against what looks like just an off-lane Bristleback. Who, I guess if he had some support, you'd expect him to get something done, but on his own, I think he might struggle on this lane.
Well, this is a defensive trial lane with Venge and Wisp. They know that there's an observer ward or some kind of ward blocking that camp to stop the pull through. So I don't know where Wisp goes now. He would love to just, pull through and maybe pull over to the large camp, but definitely get some stacks going. So it looks like he's cleared down the trees over here that you usually do as a Wisp, and he'll stack both camps at once. It's a little more difficult though, Radiant side than it is Dire side. This camp here in particular is an absolute nightmare to stack.
Oh, looks like he's done it. Oh, no, he hasn't done it.
It looks like it, but there's such a small window to actually stack that camp, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think if they're melee creeps, he would have made it with that timing, but because they're ranged, they took slightly longer, throwing their projectile and then moving.
Yep. Well, Raven turns back around on boys, throws some quill sprays out, but he's got the support of QQ here as well. Earthshaker and Bristle off lane.
It's pretty awkward, I mean, they're both melee. The Earthshaker, yeah, he's just coming here to block the wave and pull the lane back, and Bristleback already getting more value than I thought he would in this lane. I suppose part of that's because the Wisp wasn't at the start, but I guess kind of gone are the days where offlaners get completely zoned out. Offlaners get, less value, but most of the time these days we see offlaners getting some XP, some gold. It's a lot to do with where the lanes meet these days. The first wave meeting a lot closer to the offlaner's tower than it used to. Yeah,
you get to control the creep equilibrium quite a lot as the offlaner nowadays, but also the fact that supports. So often you have a greedy support that likes to stack and pull and doesn't really go to zone you out. So you are often 1 versus 1 against a support hero. While the safe lane carry, right-clicking away, taking as much gold as he can, then it's offlaner against support, and it comes down to who has the most harass. Raven obviously comes out on top against the Vengeful Spirit. Venge and Wisp don't offer really too much in the way of zoning or harassment onto this Bristleback, so they'll have to rely on Tiny. Actually leaving the creep wave to get his combo down.
Yeah, at the same time, the Spirit Breaker's got really nothing going for himself except that he has high HP and armor. He's nearly got level 2. I don't know, I feel like in the past in this kind of position you get nothing at all. Not like one slow level, you get 0. So yeah, difference in patches, but moving over to the mid lane, Shadow Fiend's actually already moving to just making a stack with a Shadow Raise, that's what it's gonna be. I thought, is he gonna try and clear those things with a level 2 raise? That'll be a bit premature.
Well, he's got his bottle coming out to him and boots as well, yeah. So he's got quite a nice set of items now already, 3 minutes into the game. And like you said, a large stack already made up for him. Troll isn't the easiest hero to lane up against, but last hit was Shadow Fiend pretty much even with that Troll. So he got a pretty decent start with the first couple of waves, and now he's just denying away. 7 denies up against the 3 of Troll. Bot lane. And look at how difficult it is for Venge to actually move in here and harass Raven.
Yeah, Venge, we spoke about before, as a harassing support, really not up there. Short range, pretty much has to go into range of the melee heroes to start harassing them, and they just get a better trade out of it. So Venge wants to be going for kills, that's how she wants to control the lane. Maybe they'll go for one soon. See the Wisp moving in.
Well, I think Tiny now is level 3, they've got the level 2 in Avalanche. They surely have enough damage to kill the Earthshaker. I'm not too sure about Raven. Yeah, Tiny's moving back to the lane. They throw out a magic missile, but it's not accomplishing anything really. Cloud on the race to the rune spot, but JC Vash is already here to stop that. Does he have Glimpse? No. Kinetic Field is ready to get thrown out here though, yeah. And the charge in from CK, stopping the gang and maybe a turnaround here. Cloud getting raised down, but Shadow Fiend now in an awful situation where he's got Spirit Breaker, Wisp, and Troll all chasing him down. Balls from Wisp not hitting. Disruptor still hasted up, has a TP scroll as well. Where does he go from? Oh man, mid lane, QQ throws down the Fisher, but Cloud is on the rampage looking for a kill. Gets one before he goes down to the Shadow Fiend, so first blood going the way of Underminer. Now Earthshaker, I don't know, he looked to try and maybe start a secondary fight, but he just got completely caught out.
That's a good trade for Underminer. Is it? Oh wait, sorry, not for Underminer, for Mineski. Like, is the Shadow Fiend's kills worth much more, isn't it?
Yeah.
Surely? I mean, it's on a core and it's the Shadow Fiend getting the kill.
Well, the fact that the Shadow Fiend now also gets a wave and a half of free last hits, free experience. Bot lane, the Bristleback went and killed the Tiny. Sure enough, he died in response, but Mineski getting the better trades definitely in the first 5 minutes.
And they've safely in Viper's just picked up a 5-minute Midas. It's flying out on the courier, which is currently going mid, but it will hit him soon. So that's going to be interesting. I mean, Viper, a hero who struggles to farm in the mid game without a Midas, but also a hero who struggles to be useful in the early game with the Midas. So So it kind of depends on this next 5-minute period where he uses Midas to get some more farm to get like proper functional core items.
Also, yeah, it also depends on what items he goes for. We've seen Highcat in the past, back when he was playing for Team Tinker. Yeah, go for that Midas on Viper in the safe lane, and then go into like a one-roll DPS hero rather than building into mech and going utility. Go into things like Sanj and Yasha. Go into Manta. Try and build up damage and be an actual right-clicker in the game rather than just, oh look, I've got mech and Aghanims. I'm super tanky. But outside of my ultimate and mech, I don't really offer too much. Avalanche and toss thrown down onto Earthshaker at the bot rune spot. But look at that, QQ still surviving through this. Where the hell did the Spirit Breaker go? Did he get glimpsed back?
Yeah.
Must have been glimpsed back. Earthshaker does fall, but now Shadow Fiend is still brawling through this cloud. Turns on his Battle Hunger. Battle Hunger? No, it's definitely not Battle Hunger, and he's still chasing Tucci. Double raise. Not going to finish off CK, and Troll does get the last hit in there. Jesse Vash now, oh my god. Spirit Breaker with a Stout Shield procs, not going to drop. As Jay and White tethers up Cloud. Battle Trance, the Troll has, not Battle Hunger.
Really close series of events. Heroes dropping on all sides. And
not over yet.
Raven's not done.
Raven gets turned around on by Cloud, and there's no Fissure for another second or so, so they can't continue diving the tower. But Raven was full HP there.
Did you see, right before Shadow Fiend died, he actually picked up a Shadow Amulet, so we didn't see a Shadow Blade, Shadow Fiend in this game. Wonder if, people like buying it because it also starts with the word Shadow. We have seen in the CIS recently, in the CIS scene, quite a lot of SFs going for the Shadow Blade. And maybe it's catching on a bit here. I still gotta say, I'm a bit nervous every time I see it as an early pickup. I feel like, the other team is a Spirit Breaker. If he's got dust on him all the time, he's gonna charge into that SF who's bought like nothing defensive. And Wisp's gonna relocate and SF's just gonna die. I sort of see the Shadow Blade making you weak to those kind of gangs.
Yeah. G has definitely made it popular over on, well, what used to be VP but is no longer. It's the epitome of an old school item pickup though. Shadow Blade on Shadow Fiend was pretty much the item to build on him. Now yours is seeing more popularity because it's easy to pick up and it gives you almost an instant kill with yours Send Up and then Requiem. But I'm not too sure.
This Shadow Fiend's gonna die. He is being stalked, and is he just gonna happen to dodge everyone?
How lucky can you get? The smoke from Underminer running through the dire jungle because of this Observer Ward. They saw the Shadow Fiend. Oh, now he's dead, surely. The charge gonna give vision as Cloud continues chasing him down, but they can't see him. They knew where he was with the indicator above his head, but they can't actually hit him when he's being charged.
I feel like he was so lucky to get away in the first place. It's only fair that he died. Going back to the Shadow Blade discussion, I feel like it used to be the common build, but I feel like it was bought as like Shadow Fiend gets a fast Shadow Blade and snowballs out of control, and this is not really the way cores are played at the moment. It's like you hardly ever see the game being kind of snowbally in that way. So that's why I haven't yet got my head around why it's becoming popular again.
Yeah, it's not the easiest item to pick up, but I don't know. Maybe they're looking to set up with Disruptor and Earthshaker. They've got the long range initiation, then Shadow Fiend just pops in there with Shadow Blade. But we'll see how it works out. Raven, on the other hand, on this bot lane, treads Stout Shield and Bottle, so slowly building up his itemization. Well, what are we looking at for the Tiny? Has he gone for the... Okay, he's gone for Treads and Bracer.
Yeah, and I was looking over at the top lane and I saw Viper strike onto Spirit Breaker. Spirit Breaker immediately charges to mid lane, just walks back, salves up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Viper's going to dominate him if he tries to farm, but Viper just can't kill him. Not even a chance.
Vengeful Spirit and Wisp in the Radiant Jungle just running around. It's being spotted out by this Observer Ward though. And with Jesse sitting behind the bristleback, there's really no way that they can go in there for a kill. But Tucci might have put himself into a pretty rough situation here. Good fishing from QQ. Actually, Echo slams as well down onto CK, but the bash not forthcoming from Tucci. He's dusted off, gets the kill back onto the Shadow Fiend before dropping himself as the final Requiem finishes him off. That was really awkward there. And now QQ's probably going to fall as well. Vissam. That Tiny making his way towards the mid lane and getting 2 kills.
Shadowblade did arrive right before Shadow Fiend went down. I think it actually helped to make it into a trade instead of just a 1 for 0.
Yeah, but like you said, they had dust on that Spirit Breaker. He was prepared and ready for whatever that Shadowblade, whatever the Shadow Fiend was doing.
Yeah, you don't buy Shadowblades so that you can get backstab damage right before you die. That's not the point tonight.
Glimpse? Who are they sending back?
Tiny. After the relocate.
Okay.
Tiny got sent back to mid, so Wisp is all alone.
Wisp is all alone indeed. Cloud still looking for fight here. QQ walks in. Just trying to block people off. Fisher and Requiem might be happening here. No, gonna get the double raise down. Boys falls before it can land the magic missile, and now Cloud gets caught in the kinetic field just about. Tucci trying to find more raises, more right clicks. And with Raven entering in, Cloud just turns around and says, well, if you're going to group up like this, I'm going to turn around and fight you.
Yeah, and we got to give the Shadowblade some credit there because the setup was really good. Shadow Fiend, just Shadowblade, wind walking behind. Do we still say wind walking? Is that shadow walking behind? And then Earthshaker fissuring both heroes to set up the double raise. I think that if Shadow Fiend had a Yules, that's not going to happen there. He's not going to get into position to get those, so...
That's what it looked
I
like.
mean, good on him.
Yeah, that's what it looked like might have happened at the top rune spot. It's just the fact that Spirit Breaker came in with dust. They got the nice two-man Fisher, but SF wasn't really on the same page as the Earthshaker right then. If he had popped the Requiem and maybe killed the troll around that rune spot, then the trade doesn't happen. But Mineski with these 3 cores, Viper still going back for the mech. So Midas treads Ring of Aquila mech, slowly but surely progressing, but 85 last hits. Let's have a look at net worth, in fact. 12 minutes in, 6,500 of both the Viper and Shadow Fiend, while the Troll and Tiny are lagging behind quite a bit.
Oh, and Bristleback is going to probably overtake them as well with this Ancient stack. Or certainly the Tiny anyway.
But Tiny and Whisper is one of these combinations where, as long as Tiny gets Aghanims, they're always a threat. Raven, yeah, he said he's going to overtake them, but when he gets charged and swapped back into battle, Tucci, Shadowblade and Requiem, no, yep, gets it off just before CK pops the dust. And QQ, Echo slams up. Troll has died in an avalanche toss from Vissam, trying to catch Tucci, but the haste there from the Shadow Fiend allowing him to dodge every single spell. Nicole, one more last click. And SF finishes off Tiny with a raise, so a 2 for 4 exchange there as Bristle and Earthshaker die. But Underminer losing 3 of their cores.
These clashes have all been so messy. It feels like everyone is just like bloodthirsty and wanting to fight, and so no one's taking a minute to breathe and think about it. And Shadow Fiend's probably going to pick up Wisp here. Nope.
Almost.
Just tethering out on time.
Almost. Yeah,
Like, we certainly haven't seen either team saying like, guys, hang on, let's just farm a bit, stand back. Everyone's just going for the fights.
Well, when did the Shadow Fiend get his Shadowblade? 11 minutes?
Yep.
He's now got 3,000 gold. He's gone 7, 3, and 2. He's farming up lane, farming up jungle, farming up heroes.
Yeah, I think as a result of getting the Shadowblade, he got a bunch of kills, and I was just saying how snowballing is not what people do at the moment, but well, that's what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
He's definitely snowballing.
He's breaking the mold. So Tucci on the Shadow Fiend, almost 8,000 net worth now. I mean, the thing is, Viper is going for the regular item progression. He's also farming up the Radiant stacks. So now Tiny Wisp, they don't have anything to fall back on. Even if it was just a small stack, anything they need, they're going to have to take.
And Shadow Fiend gone up to the top lane, he's on his own now. I wonder if they might not consider the charge into relocate gang, but on the other side of the map there's an invisible Viper scouting out the entire Radiant team.
Well, who's he going to walk into? Do you think he could just fight straight into the Tiny? Force the relocate save or something like that? Because that's what the Wisp is waiting for right now.
He wants to get the Wisp
he wants
though.
to get the Wisp. Yeah, Viper strike onto JNY. Has to tether back to the Tiny now. Vissam turns back around. Gets his combo down onto the Viper, who just tanks through it. Has to switch to Intreads to mech, but he's not going to get it in time.
Yeah, it's a pretty weird situation there because Viper tried to kill Wisp mid just a few minutes ago, and Wisp was completely alone and got away tethering to a creep. So what does he think is different here now that the Wisp has allies with him? That's going to make it easier for him to make the kill?
I don't know. I'm wondering if he was trying to bait out a relocate or something, which is why I was thinking he goes on the Tiny. Oh, relocate in, but they've got a static Stormline kinetic field down. Jesse Vash preempting all of this. QQ now with the Echo Slam down. Wisp is dead. Boys is going to fall shortly after. The Tiny is already dropped. They don't need too much to finish off this Venge now. Another couple of Quill Sprays. Okay. Glimpse. Fisher. Just throw everything you can. Okay, yeah, of course. I was wondering what the Bristle was going. I saw the Buckler picked up and I thought, it's not a second mech. No, it's Crimson Guard.
Yeah. JCVash really showing the strength of Disruptor against Wisp Tiny there. Because often people just talk about the glimpse against relocates, but opting not to glimpse one out, but actually just to set up his static storm and kinetic field as they teleport into their own doom.
So let's have a look at item progression actually. Midas, Mech, and Yasha pretty much done for Nicole on that Viper, whereas Raven has Crimson Guard bottle, so he's just tanking up. Next, what do you reckon next? Sanjin Yasha, AC. You kind of want a full-on tank Bristleback right now, surely. You've got the right-click DPS and magic damage of the Viper and Shadow Fiend, so I'm not sure you need another physical DPS hero.
Yeah, we normally see the Sanjin Yasha, but I wouldn't be that shocked if he went Hellbird, which really forces Tiny to buy BKB.
Oh yeah, and Troll as well. Well, Troll's already building into it. It's his first item.
But Tiny doesn't want to get BKB straight off the axe. He usually wants to get one or two more items and then get the BKB. But if you have a fast Halberd and Bristleback, I feel like the Tiny then is pretty much forced to get the BKB right off the axe.
Yeah. Then we saw the BKB picked up by Tucci on the Shadow Fiend. QQ and Jesse Vash running around with Arcane Boots. How close is Earthshaker to that blink, though? Pretty damn close. Dire going to go into the Roche Pit, and there's going to be no contest here. Underminer going to be looking for the tower trades. Try and get as much farm as they can, because if they walk into this fight right now, they're probably just going to get demolished.
Yeah, I was skeptical about the Shadowblade pickup, but really it was perfect in this game. Just the way that the game played out, constant clashes. There wasn't enough time or space for the Radiant side to have a plan to deal with the Shadow Fiend. Sure, they killed him once as he got a Shadowblade. And since then, he really has snowballed. He's got the BKB really fast. He's got Aegis now, and he has another 2,000 gold pretty much. Well, 1,700 gold.
Tiny? Did Tiny not get relocated in? They're trying to chase down Nicole, but they've got no stunts. Vengeful Spirit's backed off. He's run back towards the creep wave. That was the most awkward thing I have ever seen. Wisp relocates in without the Tiny. I thought, oh, okay, Viper's dead. The relocate comes in and just avalanche toss. He's pretty much screwed. Then Vengeful Spirit ran away while the troll was chasing. Oh man, I don't know.
That was a pretty cocky Vengeful Spirit right there.
Well, the
weirdest, just assuming that Viper must be alone.
The weirdest thing was that Boys ran away from his teammates. The troll and the Wisp ran in to try and find the Viper into the side shop. The Vengeful Spirit ran back towards the creep wave. And then when his teammates have gone, he runs back towards the enemy. So I don't know if he lagged out or disconnected or... I don't know. That was one of the oddest moves I've seen.
Yeah, that looked pretty 3-2-2 to me. I mean, to what end, I don't know. But it's just like... What exactly is going on here? First to relocate in without the Tiny and then a Vengeful Spirit just kind of offering itself up on a plate.
Well, overall, Mineski with over a 10,000 net worth lead, experience, looking about the same there. They're pressuring to tier 3s here. 19 minutes in, what does Underminer have to stop them? They've got no Ravage, they've got no RP, no Black Hole. Mineski have turned this, tri-core lineup into an early push strat. The glimpse back onto the Spirit Breaker. No charge for you today. Oh, whoa, what?
I think this could just be Rax.
How?
The Crimson Guard, a mechanism that the farm on everyone on Mineski's side.
Why was Wisp?
And this is.
Did Wisp relocate into the? What? Okay. Okay. Charge in now. Trying to aim on the QQ. Doesn't get the Fisher off quite in time. Nether Strike's going to land on him, but the Static Storm catches Cloud in the midst of things. His BKB allows him just to run out, though. The fight is spread all across as the first hero to fall is in fact the Earthshaker, but Shadowfiend is just cleaning up. Spirit Breaker is brought back. Cloud now getting charged down by the Bristleback. CK does some charging of his own. Caught now in the kinetic field. Vissam the same. Walks into Avalanche, but now he's stuck.
Is this just GG? Like
I
suddenly
think so.
for 20 minutes?
I think it is. Tiny Wisp. I mean, the Tiny didn't get his Aghanims in time. Cloud had to go BKB, so his item progression was pretty much halted at that point. No Sanjin Yasha, no real damage output.
This reminds me a bit of like the TI4 Deathball metagame of, you know, Shadow Fiend got his BKB and Shadowblade up, Bristleback got his Crimson Guard up, Viper got his mech up, and then they just went. And of course it relied on all of their cores getting their core items pretty fast, but with that item set, and with a little bit of help from the Radiant side, just like beating supports randomly, which really, I mean, that's very confusing. I mean, I wonder if the Wisp and the Vengeful Spirit are having like an argument on TeamSpeak or something, because both of them just making a really bizarre pairs.
Well, at least Mineski looks like they have game 1 under their belts. They do need to win game 2 though, I believe, to stick around or at least get into the playoffs for the Pro League. Otherwise they'll drop down into Division 2. Not quite sure what happens there. But with this loss, Underminer no longer have a chance to get that top spot.
And they need to win the next game to have a chance of being in Pro League. If Underminer loses this 2-0, then are they just... Wait, are they just out? If they... No, wait, it's not.
No, Underminer then goes 7 and 9, so they'll have two more single games left, while Mineski will be 8 and 10. So Mineski will go ahead of 5ever and Underminer for now, but Mineski, this is their last series.
Oh, right, but okay, hang on. So Underminer losing this game won't be able to end first, but if they lose the next game, they won't be able to go to Pro League. They will still be able to survive relegation. They just won't be able to go to Pro League. So it's a big loss, and the next game will be big for them as well.
I'm just wondering.
Well, we're talking as if the game's over, but
yeah,
okay,
people are still fighting. CK, you're in a lot of trouble there, my friend. QQ jumps in with the Echo Slam, the glimpse back onto boys. But I'm just wondering, there's 3 spots right now between Pro League and Division 2. The 3 spots there, I believe that they're playoff spots to go back into Pro League, but I'm not 100% sure. Because obviously there's the final spot, which sends you to the LAN finals. Then the Pro League spots, which gives you a dedicated spot to stay in the Pro League. And then there's 3 places there where Trust, 5ever, oh my god, and Underminer are all in those slots right now that they'll have to play some playoff games to stay in. Whereas the bottom 2 spots, you just get automatically relegated. Well, they're going to get killed on Viper here. He mechs up to try and survive through it, but BKB's popped and gets taken down. I'll probably have an admin messaging me saying, yep, that's exactly how it works, or no, you're a complete fool and that's not how it works.
And Underminer are like, why are you guys talking as if we've already lost the game? We're just going to kill Viper, but...
I don't know, Tiny gets ripped a new one there by Tucci and QQ. Now CK jumps in with another strike on the Jesse Vash, doing a decent amount of damage, but look at that Requiem. Cloud getting some lucky bashes in, but the Shadow Fiend with Mjolnir fully completed. Triple kill for Raven, in fact, who's died behind tier 3, fighting up against Vism on the Tiny. Is he gonna drop? He's healing through it. Still surviving through it. Needs a couple more clicks. Oh my god, no way. Okay. He dies. He dies in the end.
Okay, but Viper was not even there, right? Viper was dead before the fight started.
Yeah.
And Mineski still forced 2 big buybacks out of the 2 main cores. So, you know, if that doesn't happen again, I didn't see. I mean, did you see how did the Viper get picked off? Did he like get tossed back or something?
Yeah, Viper.
Like, how did he get stuck in the enemy base?
Viper ran up to the tier 3, got tossed back onto the Spirit Breaker, I think, and then just got killed here. While the rest of his team, you know, were in this box, trying to push into base. But Underminer have lost 1 set of racks. Tiny still doesn't have Aghanims, though. I guess because of that buyback.
Yeah, this is it's like a 25k gold lead pretty much in as many minutes. Well, not 25,000 minutes, 25 minutes.
25,000 minute game!
Viper has a Desolator, is that a thing?
Apparently so. They want to destroy buildings, so why the hell not?
I guess they think the game's gonna end any second now, which probably it will. And Shadow Fiend might... Nope. No, trying to get the Wisp again.
I was watching the Radiant Vision there. They even popped dust because they thought the SF would be Shadowblading over across to them. This game has been a clowny one. Nicole on the Viper looking forward to try and find a kill maybe onto the Troll. Cloud backing himself up. I don't know. Mineski with a 17,500 net worth Shadow Fiend, 15,000 net worth on the Viper. Those two heroes alone. What are we looking at? 17.5, 22, 23, 27, 29. So it's almost 30k net worth up on Underminer. If you add Shadow Fiend and Viper, that is the entirety of the Radiant team. And more.
Yep. I don't see how the Radiant team wins a fight unless someone walks up to Tiny and gets tossed back again. Oh.
Well, he didn't get tossed that far, and it's the tankiest hero in the game right now. Heart and Crimson Guard as QQ jumps in with Echo Slam and Fisher. Dropping a couple of heroes instantly. Jesse Vash is getting focused down by CK on the Spirit Breaker, but Nicole, the Desolator Viper, making short work of that guy. Boys, Cloud, dead and dead. GG is called. Mineski win game number 1 here up against Underminer. Taking themselves that little bit closer out to the relegation battle.
Yeah, looking like the finish of the last few matches in this league are going to be all probably quite important to determining which team gets relegated.
Well, we'll be back in a couple of minutes with game number 2 to see if Mineski can get that second win under their belt, or whether Underminer can, I don't know, there's nothing wrong with the draft. Their draft was perfectly fine, it was just how Mineski played around it. But we'll be back in a couple of minutes with game number 2.